I'm going to now be joined by the Vice President of the People's National Party Youth Organization, Miss Shamil Brown. Good night, Miss Brown.
Good night, Andre. How are you? And good night to your listeners. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening.
I am well. I must say that I know your entire family is watching tonight because they're big avid listeners of
They
PDG.
are. They call in. My cousin supports your business. He talks about your food all the time. And so, of course, it would be remiss of me not to say hi and good night to my family. My mother, Miss Lisa, is on. My auntie, Miss Carter, is on. My sisters, Taniel, Chanel, my cousins, Rayan, that you know, Trudy.
Lisa.
Everyone is on. Yes. My community, they're watching from Liberty Valley, Brownstone, and of course, my second family in Eastern Westmoreland, they're also on. And to the PMPYO members who are on joining tonight, I want to say good night to everyone.
Hope all of them subscribe to the channel. I hope
Yes.
all of them subscribe to the channel. I saw you giving a fair representation in Westmoreland over the weekend. Shamil, tell us about what going on in the country with the young people them, no?
Andre, the young people in Jamaica, they are fed up of the current state of Jamaica that we see today. Young people believe that there can be better, there will be better, and there must be better under Mark Jefferson Golden PMP led administration. And so young people have been voicing their concerns, issues that they face in the education system, issues that they face in the cost of living, not being able to live the life that we want after years of studying and putting in the hard work. And so young people are ready for change. And the People's National Party is here to deliver the change that we need.
Mm. Oh, so tell us tonight. You're the vice president of the YO.
Yes, sir.
You're a master student.
Yes, sir.
What is your master? What are you doing your master's in?
So I'm currently attending the University of the West Indies and I'm pursuing a master's degree in international public and development management in the Faculty of Government.
Mm. So, sir, in the
In the
Department of
Department of Government, right?
Oh, let me add the vice, the general. Let me add the general secretary, another powerhouse female in the People's National Party. Good night, Peter K. Ferguson.
Good night, Andre. Good night, my VP, Comrade Brown. Good night to all your listeners here on Partner TV, those who are watching. Thank you for having us.
Hmm. Peter G. Brown, you are tasked with the responsibility. Peter
Yes.
Ferguson, you're tasked with the responsibility of mobilizing the young people across the length and breadth of Jamaica to follow and support the People's National Party movement. How is that going, Peter Gay?
Well, it has been going good. We have an overwhelming support and number of persons who are interested in joining the organization, persons who want to do, various activities. Currently, I think our membership in terms of group membership is over 3,000. We have over 3,000 young people across Jamaica who are group members. And then we have another set of persons who are individual members who that's almost over 1,000 people there in just individual membership alone. So, and those are people who are formally registered with our organization.
Wow.
Mhm.
So Shamil, reason with the young people tonight, like how you reasoned in Westmoreland recently. Tell us of the state of the economy. Tell us the state of education, because education is one of your areas of strength. Tell us the status of education in the country.
Right. So any well-thinking Jamaican will agree with me that our current education sector is going through a crisis, Andre.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in July, July 4, 2024, there was an article published in the Jamaica Observer. And the article was titled Not Crying Wolf, But, and what the article outlined was the scores of vacancies that were being published in the Sunday Glean on June 30.
Mm.
And noting that how is it that we intend to start the academic year in 2025 with so many vacancies in the schools across the island? Teacher retention was obviously a problem.
Yes.
And I remember the ministry downplaying it and saying, it's nothing to be too
Mhm.
alarmed about. We
Yes.
fast forward to September 2025, and what happened, Andre? You had schools opening where you didn't have sufficient teachers. So students went to a math class and there wasn't a math teacher. You went to
Mhm.
your social studies class, there wasn't a social studies teacher. What
Mm.
schools and principals were forced to do, they had to
Yes.
access the teachers at the school who did well in their CSEC and CAPE in a respective area, and
Mm.
then ask them to teach from grade 7 to grade 9.
Yes.
Remember, teachers go to teachers school, right, to teachers college and university to be trained in a specific area so they can impart the knowledge to students.
True.
When you have someone who is not trained in that field and only
Mhm.
did well in CAPE or CSEC years ago to teach the students, you obviously understand that students were getting the best that
Yes.
they deserve in the classroom.
So
What
that.
happened as a result of this, Andre? It was a devastating reaction. We saw when the CSEC results came out and only 18% of our students passed 5 or more subjects to include math and English. We
My
saw
God.
where only 15% of persons who graduated matriculated to university, only 15% in rural Jamaica
Yes.
across schools island wide. We
Mhm.
see almost 30% of absenteeism in the schools, meaning parents are not able to send their children to school. When you have an education system like this, we
Mm.
ought to be alarmed. We have to stop as
Yes.
well thinking Jamaicans and look at the problem, and then we come up with the solutions. Pretty talking cannot solve these problems that we have in
Mm.
the education system, and we are failing the
Mhm.
students. I am a student myself. And so I have to be concerned. Peter Gay is a student. She ought to be concerned because these are things that directly affects us and directly affect young people in
Yes.
Jamaica. So what has the PMP, Mark Jefferson Golden led administration will bring to the table?
Mm.
We want to come with practical solutions to these concerns. So we can look at the absenteeism in schools, for example. The
Yes.
PMP wants to ease the burden that parents are facing. They want to help to cushion the crisis. So
Mhm.
we have a program that we call EASE, EASE program, and it
Yes.
stands for Ensuring Adequate Substance for Education.
Yes.
Under this program, the next Mark Jefferson Golden led PMP administration has committed to a warm meal for each student in schools from primary to high school. And
Yes.
we're talking nutritious meal for the students. Now,
Mhm.
the PMP government in waiting is all about collaboration. And so for the school feeding program, there will be a collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and our next Minister of Agriculture, my boss, Dr. Dayton Campbell, has outlined that there will be an additional
Mhm.
$9 billion in place that will go towards facilitating the production of the crops needed for the school feeding program. So let's
Wow.
use Northwest St. Anne. That's where Senator Gabriela is running to be the next MP. She will be the next MP. That's the education capital down there in St. Anne. So in Brownstone, you have Servite Primary, Brownstone High, York Castle High, St. Hilda's Diocesan High, my alma mater, Brownstone Community College. So
Mm.
what the next PMP-led administration will ask of these schools is to put together a list of menus for the weeks in the school term and
Mm.
outline what will be needed. Then the Ministry of Agriculture will consult with the farmers to say your castle needs 200 pounds of pumpkin for this week. Brownstone High needs 300 pounds of Irish. And so the farmers from Meros and from Buxton Retirement Retreat, they will now produce what is needed for these schools and
Yes.
then sell it to the school. So we are talking about collaboration. That's the type of government that is in waiting for the next Jamaica. And so these are practical ideas that the PMP is putting forward to help to cushion the crisis. So a parent who is struggling with sending their child to school because they don't have the lunch money will be assured that the next PMP-led government will help to cushion the crisis with this. Now, when it comes to the transportation, that something you can't find the bus fare, we have a program called RIDE. RIDE, RIDE program. And what RIDE stands for is Rural Initiative for Delivering Education. Big program is Andre. What the next Mark Golden-led administration is promising is that we will be assisting with subsidies for transportation to approximately 20,000 students in rural Jamaica.
So not just rural school buses, but also subsidies.
Subsidies, so you can pay your transportation. We're coming with practical solutions to these problems. So here you have an issue of parents not being able to send their children to school because they don't have the lunch money or they don't have the bus fare. The PMP has looked at the problem. We understand the challenges that people are facing because, let's be honest, the cost of living here in Jamaica is sky high. But the PMP has looked at it and we have come up with practical solutions to address these issues. I can go on to talk about teacher retention because teachers are flying out left, right.
Wait. Are you a plan for be the next senator? Are we a plan for be the next senator?
I am a champion of change, Andre. I believe in the People's National Party. I was raised in a PMP family. My mother has been cluster manager for over 40 years. And I believe that the PMP, as a class alliance political movement whose policies and programs are geared towards the masses of our people, meaning those in the lower socioeconomic strata of society, are always at the forefront. People are always at the forefront of what the PMP is about. And so when I see these policies positions being put forward by the PMP, I have to be a champion of change. I have to spread the word so Jamaicans can know that a better Jamaica is waiting for us to live in.
I will say to you, all this time, I've seen you. We interact from time to time, but Dayton Campbell really mentoring you well. And there is a fire coming from you that is not an ordinary fire. There is a charisma of a Porsche with the. I'm not going to give it everything because I don't want some of them in the party start watch you. You know what? Let me leave that apart alone. But I'm totally impressed. Peter Gay, come in with your part now.
Good evening again, Andre. I think our president is also backstage waiting to join us in the conversation.
I'm not seeing that. I think she's in the wrong stream.
She's in the wrong stream. I just checked that. She said she has been waiting for a while.
Yeah, I sent her the correct stream.
You sent her the correct stream? Okay.
Okay, perfect.
There might have been an error.
Okay. Well, Andre, before I actually get into what I'm here to talk about, which is really to talk about social transformation and the economy, how that even linked together, I want to first say that I am proud to be a member, a true socialist, and also to be here representing the People's National Party Youth Organization, because I want to tell you, Andre, that a lot of young people in this country are now hopeless. They don't believe that anything good can come of this country, or that their prospects here can look like anything good. This is not the place that they want to live, raise their families, and do business. And I want to tell you in particular that I'm happy to be a part of the People's National Party at a time like this, when we have a leader like Mark Jefferson Golden. Because, Andre, I want to tell you something, and I want young people who are watching tonight to listen to us and listen to us keenly. Because Shamil, myself, Senator Morris, we could be doing other things with our lives because we have gotten the opportunity to give ourselves that start where we can get a good education, of course, with the support of our family and people around us. And we can make something of ourselves. But it doesn't stop there, Andre. We don't believe in our own individual achievement. We believe that if we're achieving, we have the duty and the onus is on us to ensure that those who are left behind, that we help them to find a pathway forward, to help to realize their own dreams and aspirations, and to become smarty on this very land that we call Jamaica. And I want to tell you, Andre, we have a leader in Mark Golden, whereby you could say he is one who has not had the struggles of ordinary Jamaicans. You get me? However, what he has is that his family has set a foundation for him where, yes, he's successful. He's a successful businessman. He's a successful attorney. And I want to tell you that young people, we don't always, like I hear the Prime Minister talking about him struggle, and so he's able to understand our needs. We don't always need to have somebody who has been in the struggle like us to know that not all of us started the same place in the race. Some of we start right at the starting line, so in the blocks. Some of we start at the middle of the track, and some people start at the end, right at the finish line there. So,
but you made a point that Wholeness claims that he has struggled like many ordinary Jamaicans. But when you think of it, 28 bank accounts, when you think of it, in Patapoile and in Belifolia, and so many ordinary Jamaicans are hungry. The ordinary Jamaicans cannot sustain themselves. Senator Morris, how do you respond to Andrew Holness tonight?
Good night, Andre. Good night, my VP and my GenSec. Good night to all the partner draw listeners across the country and abroad. Andre, thanks for having me on again. Well, I think the two ladies started out by talking about the state of our nation and where we are in terms of progress, because we are change champions over here, you know. And why we are fighting this fight is because we believe that Jamaica is going in the wrong direction. We believe that this administration led by Andrew Holness has promised a lot and delivered little. We believe that on this trajectory, the future that we will have, our generation will have, our parents' generation will have, and generations to come will have, is one that is dismal. And so right now, we understand that it is in the people's interest that the PNP comes to the fore with these raft of policies and programs that we believe will lift people up, not just a certain section of people, because as Shamil said, we are a class alliance, and we believe that all Jamaicans should have the opportunity to live good in their own country. And that is the fight that we are fighting. That is what we are proposing for the Jamaican people.
Andre, I think, as I was saying to you, right, making the distinction between the two leaders that we have now is very critical and important. And I want to tell you,
coming even in the Don Anderson poll, because
yes,
people are now identifying Mark Golding as the better leader, the right leader. The polls have suggested through the Don Anderson that people are now recognizing that integrity matters. And with integrity mattering, the issue of uncertified wealth is a matter that a lot of Jamaicans are concerned about.
Of course.
They probably never concerned about it a few years ago, but
because Andre, we've never had this situation of a leader in office and not being able to declare his assets. Nowhere in the world would any leader be allowed to sit in that situation, yet we have it here.
I'm going to put a question to you all, ladies. Are you therefore purporting that Andrew Holness should not be running in a third term with his statutory declarations not certified? Yes or no?
We don't believe that he should be
No.
running. That should
Absolutely
not
not.
stand in any good democracy.
Shamil,
No.
what is your take on it? Fire Muma. That is your new name, you know. I anytime you know that anytime I give people name the names. Remember it's me called Marky G. Marky G.
Marky G,
And
yes,
Marky is now Marky G, Marky General. So Fire
absolutely.
Muma. Fire Muma,
Mhm.
that is your new political name, Fire Muma. Tell us now, do you think he should be going up in another election? Yes or no? With his
Absolutely not, Andre, with no hesitation in my answer. Growing up your ways here, if the head of the stream is dirty, all the water will be muddy. And that is a situation that we're currently facing in Jamaica. And it is unacceptable. As young people, we want to see better from our leaders. We
Yeah.
want to see better from our prime minister because we deserve better. The example that the prime minister is setting for youngsters is no way, shape, or form what should be taking place in any law abiding country.
Mhm.
And we do not stand for it here in Jamaica. We deserve better, and the people of Jamaica is demanding better. And the People's National Party is here with Mark Jefferson Golden with clean hands, a pure heart, ready to lead and rescue Jamaica from this corruption that is taking place daily that we see.
Ladies, Senator Morris, people say that Dr. Peter Phillips gave you one of the greatest political starts in life by naming you the youngest senator in our political history. But Mark Golding has equally taken you under his wings. He has mentored you. He has said, Gabby, you need to come in and run in St. Anne. What what is the character trait of a Mark Golding that you admire so much that probably the country, you'd want the country to know that this man, and I'm going to come to you too, Peter Gay, because you work very close with him each day.
He's my
So
boss. Yes.
what is that character trait, Gabby, that you see Senator Morris that defines him as a reputable leader, a leader with integrity, a gentleman, somebody that is different and is worthy to take on the seat, the prime ministerial chair?
Well, first, Andre, let me say thank you. As you said, I was given an opportunity at the age of 23. Historical moment. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Phillips because he took a chance on a young 23-year-old woman and gave her an opportunity, gave me an opportunity to serve the country at one of the highest levels. And it is not lost on me what an opportunity that was. And so I want to say thank you to him. Our leader, Mark Golding. You know, I met Comrade Leader when I was in about second year university. And I was tasked with working with him to make some phone calls. And we went through a long list of phone calls and during the conversation.
That was in the election season.
Yes.
Bangarang.
I noticed something about him. The way that he spoke to people, it was very down to earth. And it struck me because you would not, you know, your biases might take over and you say, oh, this man, but he have money. He may not think saying so nice, but he was very down to earth. And he was actually taking the time out to listen to persons and their concerns. And a lot of people don't know, you know, but Mark Golding is very rootsy. I don't think there are many persons who understand Jamaican culture like Mark Golding. And I can recall one night we were traveling. I think it was from Portmore. I don't even think he remembers this. And all the way back to Kingston, we see and him teach us some old song, and it was just such a breathtaking moment to really see the person that he is.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of his long resume, I believe that at this point, the country needs somebody with steady hands.
Yes.
Need somebody who understands the plight of the people and takes time out to listen and to act, not just acting on his own accord or doing what is politically expedient, but somebody who is holding the best interest of the country in his heart and in his mind. And as a legislator, his achievements, I don't believe there are many legislators that can rival his achievements as justice minister. And we see how the parliament is run. Well, I don't know if you see it, but I can tell you.
Chaka. Appear chaka.
Very chaka.
Very chaka.
And so we need somebody to lead the legislative arm who actually understands the legislative process and can keep us on track to ensure that what needs to get done gets done. And I believe that Mark Golding is that person.
Peter Gay, you are around the leader 24/7.
Most times.
In terms of all of that.
Yes.
How does a Mark Golding respond to crisis or disappointments or when things not going his way? Is he one of those persons that are autocratic and getting him feelings and miserable and shout and stamp down and turn dictate upon you? Tell me Peter Gay. Be honest.
We don't have that leader. And I don't have that boss. I can talk about him as my boss, and I can talk about him as the leader of the People's National Party. And if we want to talk about real life examples, Andre, that people can attest to, let's talk about the Ukraine situation. When the students were stuck in Ukraine, this Andrew Holness-led administration government decided that they wanted the students to take out loans to come back to Jamaica when they were in such a dire situation. Our comrade leader, because he grew up with a family who has always placed people at the center of what they do, said, no, this can't happen. And he went into his pocket, called on some friends, and ensured that the students could find their way safely home to Jamaica. That is just one example of the type of leader that we have, how he responds to crisis and situation that calls for thinking not just with your head, but with your heart. And I want to tell you, Andre, about our comrade leader, because a lot of people say them don't know enough about him. Yes. But when I hear the Prime Minister say we must choose Jamaica, if we are to choose Jamaica, then we must choose the People's National Party, and we must choose a leader like Mark Jefferson Golding. Simply because, Andre, look at his legacy and his family history. He grew up in a family where his father, Sir John Golding of blessed memory, and Lady Patricia Golding of blessed memory, those were people who gave real service to Jamaica. His father was the first orthopedic surgeon who came here and saved us in the polio crisis. This is no ordinary thing that was done, Andre. He literally changed the trajectory of Jamaica and our future. And then his wife was there working steadily with him. Comrade leader grew up on the university campus right down there in Augustown. His wife, Mrs. Golding, is from 19 down in Augustown there. You know, and they have a steady relationship. When you're talking about a family man, he has good family values, something that is so missing, critically missing from our country right now. We need someone with that type of family value that is strong and that people can look up to and emulate. And we know, Andre, take off the mask and make a reason. A reason we're reasoning, you know, Andre. Show them your face, man. Make we talk. Because when we talk, we come with facts, you know, Andre. Right? Not hold on, Andre. Hold on. Not only does he display strong family values and real, credible things we're talking about here now, he also has the track record of someone who's a successful businessman, a successful attorney, someone who has a long track record of serving, giving service. So we know that he has the capabilities of transforming this country, transforming the economy. Not only that, Andre, and I want to listen to me good. right? This is a man who, as justice minister, championed the decriminalization of the use of marijuana so that many young men and older men now could go to the courts and get there, or go to the Ministry of Justice and get their criminal records expunged. And when you talk about how that has transformed the lives of so many young men, because it would have stopped them from getting employment within the public sector and in other spaces. It would have also impacted their travel opportunities. And Mark Jefferson Golding, as Justice Minister, and PNP government back then changed that for many Jamaican men. And Andre, this government, Andre Olney is talking about choosing Jamaica. They have failed the small farmers because a lot of them are to struggling in growing marijuana illegally. And that industry that has now come a long way and can do so much for transforming the lives of those people. They have allowed it so their friends, they have set it up, monopolized the system, and set up all sorts of bureaucratic processes so that only their friends can benefit from it. But under Mark Jefferson Golding, right, we will not see that continuing. You can't tell us that you're choosing Jamaica when you have no track record of truth in this country and choosing its people. Our comrade leader, who has not yet been prime minister, has shown us time and time again as a good family man, a good father, a good husband, right? A good successful businessman, a good justice minister, someone who has saved so many young men in this country. He has shown us what he's capable of doing. Not only that, Andre, but he has given us as young people, and I said this Saturday and I want to say it again, I've never heard anybody from G2K or Young Jamaica champion the cause of young people in this country. So many things have happened, and I've never seen them send out a press release, call a press conference, or go on a platform and talk about the injustices that are happening to young people in this country. Talk about how hopeless young people feel. I've not seen them done that, Andre. And comrade leader has given us a junior shadow cabinet, giving young people the opportunity to speak on policy areas that are affecting us. And so they don't sit down and come up with policy ideas themselves. He has given us the opportunity to do that, Andre. And in July, we'll be dropping the Youth Manifest. And I hope you will be there to hear more from us about those programs and policies that we're championing for young people in this country.
Well, I'll be there if you invite me to host.
Andre, we get the master now.
You see, Andre? So those are the things. Those are the things that we're talking about, Andre. Andrew Holness has shown us in his bid to choose Jamaica that he has chosen to destroy the homes of poor people, right? He has chosen to trample on the systems that are set in place to ensure that the public resources are used for the purposes of this public. And Andrea, I can tell you, one of the main reasons corruption is such a big problem for us now in Jamaica is because we're not seeing how the system is transforming education and the prospects for young people coming out of the education system. When we go to the hospitals, the health services poor, when you look at our police interacting with civilians, just now you had a young man here and his story is so heartbreaking. Look at how many people, just because of their addresses and where they're from, they're being victimized and marginalized. We cannot continue to live in a country like this, Andrea, and that is why so many people are now prioritizing education, because we want a better public system. And policy, Andre, is not just about what the government chooses to do, but it's their failure to do and act. And this government has failed in many regards.
Stay tuned for more PDTV News Evening Highlights. Remember to show your support. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.